Welcome to a special episode of the Sencast. My name is Dale Pickles, Managing Director of B Squared and the host of the Sencast, the podcast for special educational needs and disability. This special episode is part of a series celebrating the award winners from the 2024 Nasen Awards. In this episode, my guests, there's not one, not two, there are three, are Catherine McCluskey, Paul Schofield and Roo Stenning, and they are all from St Andrews International School in Bangkok. And St Andrews won the International Provision of the Year Award, and this award was sponsored by Nurture International. Catherine McCluskey is the Director of Whole School Learning Support, SEND and Inclusion. Paul Schofield is the head of the school and has been for over 20 years. And finally, Roo is the head of the high school. The Nasen Awards, organised by Nasen, celebrate outstanding contributions to the educational support of children and young people with SEND. These annual awards recognise individual schools and organisations that demonstrate exceptional commitment to inclusive education and the advances of SEND practices. You will find links in the show notes to find out more about the work Nasen does, their CPD and events. Now, let's get on with the podcast. In this week's show, Catherine McCluskey, Paul Schofield and Roo Stenning from St Andrews International School in Bangkok are here to discuss their work and why they won the International Provision of the Year Award. St Andrews International School Bangkok was shortlisted because of their strong evidence of inclusive learning in both ethos and practice. Their school focuses on each child's learning potential with specialist teachers and a learning support department that continually finds new ways to ensure everyone is included and thriving. St Andrews operates an inclusive admissions policy supported by a professional learning support team, and children with additional needs are fully integrated into classes where appropriate with additional support provided as necessary. Welcome to the show, Catherine, Paul and Roo.
Hello, Dale.
Hello, Dale. Hello, Dale.
Hello. That was nicely done in order, very sequenced. That was like doing a register, that was. Congratulations on winning the International Provision of the Year Award. You know the rules. You've won an award, so I have to ask, what does that recognition mean to you?
So it's a recognition of all the hard work that has been put into the school over the last 20 years. I'm a relatively new member to the school of SLT in the last 2 years. And from coming to the school, it was really clear to me that we have an outstanding provision for all children, and our inclusive values include everyone within our community to excel, to learn from each other. It's really important for us to showcase how we support our young people within our inclusive pathways, right through from FS1 right up until they leave us in year 13. It's not just about our, as you said, our outstanding learning support department, specifically supporting those children with SEND, but also all children in the school. And so gaining the recognition from the Nasen Award for Outstanding SEND Provision just shows us that it's not just from the work that we do specifically with our SEND learners, but actually the impact and the value that they bring to our community for all members of the community across the school.
And what, like in the podcast, we have got you, who's kind of the lead of inclusion, but we've also got Paul. I'll get it right because I've written my notes and they're not on screen in front of me. Paul is the head of school and Roo is the head of the high school. So it's already showing me it's not just, oh yeah, you're over there, you lot, USN lot. You are included in everyone and everyone's there supporting each other.
I think that was basically the idea behind the school. I'm not a favour of selective education because every young person, every teacher has got something to bring to the table. And really, when you look at communities, it's about sharing the values of everybody together that you actually make a really rich community. And children who are really gifted in reading and writing and maths can find education quite straightforward in some respects, but the world is changing. And the more we have a social fabric and understanding of each other, the better we will be. So I've always tried to include all children in the school, and working with Roo and now with Catherine, we've been able to do that. And as the school has grown, it's allowed us to take whole families and not separate them up by saying, oh, yes, 2 of your children are bright enough and one of them isn't, so they can't come. We've always taken everybody, and we've then tried to match our programs to get each of those children to be successful and offer what they can to the community, which may be sport, maybe art, maybe drama, maybe music, maybe the fact that they are good at reading stories. It may be that they're good at understanding gardening. They may like fish. It doesn't matter, because each of those young people brings something to the table that make our community richer. And the more we can share with each other and understand others, the better people we become and a stronger community we become. And I think that's what parents want. And that's what we've seen, I think, as the school has grown, that it isn't about just supporting young people with needs. It's about supporting all children to understand themselves and the anxieties that they face. And you can often do that when you meet other children who have more challenges than you. It makes you realise how much you can give to them and how much they can give to you. And I think that's the essence of how we want to approach our school community.
I like the bit there where you kind of, and it's the sort of thing you forget with inclusion, that actually you are saying, yes, you two can come to my school, but you're not allowed. And actually the impact that has on the family, that they are supporting two schools, they can't be with their siblings, but also you have literally told a child you're not good enough. No matter how you dress it up, you're not good enough to go to that school. And that will have a lasting impact on that child. So having all children in one school, that inclusive, yes, it might not always be straightforward, but there are going to be so many rewards by having those children in the same school as their siblings.
That's right. I agree entirely. And that's really, what do young people bring? Yes, in some respects, education can be simplified down to reading and maths and so forth. Well, actually, that's not what it's about. Really, it's about that social interaction, that social understanding, that empathy with others, that ability to make friends. Because when you get out in the workplace, it's all of those skills. Yes, being able to read and write helps. But actually, if you can make friends, if you can build teams, if you can get on with people and understand others and help others, it's amazing how much further you're going to go out in society, in your own businesses and in your own ideas. And I think that is an underpinning reflection throughout the school, regardless of age. And I'm sure Roo agrees with me in that, because we've worked together for a long, long time. And we've seen the strength of keeping people together, families together and young people together. And it's each different child gets something from the others. And it's wonderful to hear within our community that so many of our children support others, regardless of their, what they perceived ability that society is going to place on them.
Wow. So this has obviously been a long-term project. It's not something Catherine went, I've got an idea and we're going to do this. Catherine's come in when you're already on that journey.
Well, I didn't really want this, and I wasn't. She just did the award and told us she'd applied for it, because I was quite happy with the way the school was. I don't really want to share my ideas with anybody else, because inclusion is about taking everybody we can, and we're a wonderful school and we've got an amazing community, and I never really thought about it as something that should be celebrated. Yes, it's great to have more and more programs and more experts, and Catherine's brought a huge amount to the school and really made a big impact. But all of that, it's all the teachers are inclusive, all the children are inclusive. The fact that I remember when we had a little boy in doing a sports day, and he all the boys and all the girls finished the lap of the school that they were doing, and this little lad hadn't. So they all went back and helped him. And thinking about it still makes me cry, because they all went back and helped him and cheered him across the finishing line. And that's what it's about. When people can work and young people can understand others and see that they're trying and want to help them, that's what we need within society. That's what we need within the people that are going to lead countries and do things. And hopefully the group of people that we have here will go off and make a difference, will go off and take these ideas further. And certainly I know from some of the graduates we've got, they're doing fantastic work around the world with all sorts of different sorts of people. And I think that's the way you bring change. It's my silent revolution.
But Catherine's been naughty and broken the mold of telling someone.
Yes, that's right. I was horrified when somebody came to look at us. Why are you inclusive? Well, because we've got the biggest tortoises in the school. I don't know why we're inclusive.
I would just to go back to some of the things that Kat and Paul have said, I think the kind of our kind of journey. Like Kat says, she's joined it more recently. Paul's been there longer than me, but it's about every year, all the time, we're trying to include a bigger range of students, but we're also trying to even better meet the needs of the students that we have and the students that will be coming. And I think those two kind of obviously are complementary. You asked at the beginning about what does it mean to us, like Paul's being a bit cynical there. It's great. Yes, of course, like Kat says, it's recognition for all the hard work that so many people have done in our community over the last 20 years. That's fantastic. But I think it is important that actually through things like this nasen award, through the Inclusion Quality Mark Centre of Excellence Award, we also want to show other schools that actually you can be inclusive too. Like this is not this scary thing. This is something that all schools should be trying to do. And we're very happy to help other schools to try and do it better. We're still trying to do it better, but having these kind of big awards and things like that is great because it shows that you can do it, especially maybe in the international school setting where international schools do tend to be a bit less inclusive than schools in the UK kind of have to be.
Exactly.
So, Paul, you've been there 20 years?
I think so.
And Roo, how long have you been there?
I've run out of fingers and toes.
This is my 14th year at the school.
So just hearing that, and I do think there's something about keep changing your school regularly or something as a leader and people moving on and moving around. Do you think there's something about people being in the same place and really, really embedding that ethos, that it's not a case of you come in? Because I think if you're there for a couple of years, you'll bring some of that ethos, but you'll have some of your own and it gets watered down. Do you think by having leaders who are there, you're really setting the tone?
I've got to say, yes.
Thought you would.
It was far easier when we only had 11 students in high school and 2 teachers, We had 4 in year 8 and 7 in year 7 and about 120 in the whole school. But, I think what you want to do is people to enjoy the environment, enjoy the lifestyle and the environment and the atmosphere of the school and really buy into that. And I think that's why people have stayed. There's a huge community of teachers and teacher assistants that have been, and administrators that have been with the school 10, 15 years. And it's really fantastic that they've stayed with us and kept that mission that we've developed alive and very fresh. And I think as the school has grown, we've just reinvented ourselves to be even better, as Roo was saying, so we can deal better with the young people that we have within the school. And certainly some of the families have enriched the school from bringing their children with needs to the school, and we've then worked with that family and found how we can share the wonders of their children with the wonders of other children that don't have those needs. And each family is gained and the community as a whole is gained.
And the fact you've got people coming in who are staying with you for 10, 15 years, they're obviously joining and going, yes, they are doing it right here. I want to be part of it and I want to stay. So it is the more kind of longer people stay, I always find it's a bigger compliment to the leaders in that school. Or they've got a very, very easy job.
Yeah, but equally, those people who join can say, wouldn't it be better if? And that's what you want people to say all the time. Wouldn't it be better if? So they buy in. It isn't about coming and finding that it's right and correct and all the rest of it. It's about coming and thinking, God, this has got potential. This has got a real way that I can do something that's going to have an effect, whether I'm a physics teacher or a FS teacher or a learning support teacher. That's what people want to feel. And teachers, if you wanted to be rich, you'd be a banker. If you're a teacher, you want to understand young people and enjoy their company and enjoy their development and watching them grow. And it's wonderful to see young people grow and develop and take on more and more adult roles and responsibilities and understanding.
Would you say that that idea of inclusion was literally there from 20 odd years ago? Is it something you went, oh, hang on, we're supposed to be doing this and I've just realised we're doing it all already? Or is it something you went, oh, actually, we're losing people out, we need to be inclusive? How would you kind of say that idea has grown?
I suppose, for me personally, I come from a state background with a very poor school in UK. So I don't know about selective education. In fact, I probably have an aversion to it, to say the least. So to find myself in the international setting with many, many people from independent public schools, I found it quite difficult. So when I got my own headship, and I was lucky enough to get this headship when there was only about 130 kids, and Thai owners who said wonderfully, Paul, you can do what you like if you provided you make, because the reputation's good, and that's what I did. And all I've done is based it on all the different things that I believe in. And Roo's joined me, and now Kat's been with us for 2-3 years. And many of the people that are around the development of this school have all believed in that inclusive idea. And it's great if you can take everybody. Your numbers go through the roof.
But I also think is, if you're an inclusive school and you're doing it right, you are going to attract not only students and families, but staff. Is you end up being a school people almost have to fight to get into to work, because they're going, right, they're doing it right, and I want to be part of that.
Also, it's, you look at our examination results, you look at all the pathways we've got now for children. Our examination is fantastic. What our young people do when they're here amazes me. It amazes me the quality of the work that they believe in themselves that much to be able to do. And that's the importance. Is if if you're not careful, education is about putting labels on kids and failing them. And selective education, as you said, in terms of families, no, take that one and that one, but your third one, sorry, they can't come. It's about failing people. And school should not be about putting those labels on. We should be opening doors and creating pathways and allowing young people to show how good they are, because they all have a talent. It's just a matter of finding where those talents are. And I think that's been the beauty of the school and the beauty of the staff that have worked here and enjoyed trying to make those opportunities for young people. And young people, when they've got them, just embrace them and go miles. It's amazing what they do.
So, Catherine, you joined 3 years ago.
Yes.
So you've obviously you moved over from London. You've arrived at this school. What is it you saw? What is it they were doing that made you go, yes?
Just again, it's the inclusivity. It was the fact that every single child and family is valued equally. That everyone here just strives, as Paul and Roo have said, strives to find that way in for each of the children, make sure that they're excelling in the areas that they are interested in, that they enjoy, valuing not just the academic side of things, but also all the sports, the drama, music, everything. We've got sort of 300 plus extracurricular activities that are put on throughout the week across both sites, and children are able to join football teams. We don't have a first team per se. We will field as many football teams as we need to ensure that every single child has an opportunity to play. So it's that is the nature of our school. If we have a child joining us that we haven't had experience of supporting before, maybe they have a physical disability or a genetic disability that we haven't come across about, we will work as a team to ensure that we have found exactly what that child needs, and we will put it into practice. Nothing is too big, let's put it that way. And that was really what sprung out to me from coming from London. I looked at the website when I applied. It was actually a friend of mine who taught at one of the highly selective schools in Bangkok. She got in touch with me and said, Catherine, there's this job that's come up in this fantastic school. You will love it. It's absolutely your ethos. It's your values, your inclusive values. You need to look into it, because I hadn't even considered a jump to international school, because I'd heard that the majority of them were selective. And I felt that just didn't fit in with my own moral and ethos and mission as an educator. And as soon as I looked at the website, I just realized that this is a school that knows what they are doing. This is a school that values every single student. This is a school that has worked obviously very hard to embed these inclusive values. And I just had to get a job there. That was it. Nothing would do unless I was able to come and work here. And I have not been disappointed. And what you say about the SLT, about the leaders, the teachers at the school, every single person buys into the inclusive values of the school, and it's just such a fantastic place to work.
I see schools that I'm going to air quote inclusive, And what I mean by that is you'll have someone who's like really passionate like you, Catherine, who's going blah, 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 and then the head teacher's just sitting there nodding, letting you. And it's like, I find some head teachers kind of go, I'll stand next to them while they do it. And they're facilitating it, which is great, but they've almost not that interested. They're standing next to you while you're doing it all. But they're like, oh, it looks good. It keeps everyone happy. So I'll let her do it. Whereas it's really obvious here that you've got leaders who are fully bought in. And it isn't just we're doing this because it was supposed to or anything, or it makes Ofsted happy. That you do it, in theory, you're doing it when you shouldn't be doing it because you should be selective, apparently, as an international school. You're actually going, as a whole school, this is what we believe in. And that buy-in from the senior leaders, like I said, it's on the podcast, it's always got to come from the top. Whatever you're doing, and you can't just be a head teacher who goes, oh, Catherine's going to talk to us about this and then leave the room. Or even just sit there and Catherine's going to talk about this and get your phone out and just work out what your shopping is this week. You've got to be there delivering it alongside Catherine. And that's telling everyone we are inclusive.
Yeah. But when we started, I just decided I'd take every child that no other school wanted. You know. And Bangkok's got lots of international schools. And so for many years, all the other international schools used to recommend families to me because we'd take the child with special needs. What they didn't realise is the rest of the family, all those kids who are, talented, as they would say, would join us as well. So we have a rich, academic programme right across everything. And now we're the biggest school in Bangkok because the fools have just realised how successful inclusion is.
So they thought you would just take the outcast child and leave them the intelligent ones and all that lot and the ones that they wanted, but actually you went, no, you can all come here and you can all be together and we'll be really inclusive.
And parents want that. Parents want their children together.
Yeah.
And so once they see you can offer an academic programme, well, they're really, really delighted to have their kids sharing those experiences. I went to a thing on Sunday where we had our senior kids doing the choir, and it was wonderful. But we had one of the little boys in year 7 who's got on our Embracing Differences programme. He was there singing as well, singing his heart out with everybody else. But the kids started to do this. So most of the kids are all going, he's going the opposite way all the time. But there was a big year 12 boy who just put his arm around him and went, and that's what it's about. Was just such a special moment.
But all that was needed, he was singing, he was doing the clicking, he was just out of sync. And I could see me doing that. All it took
thinking everybody else was wrong.
One other person just to give that little nudge in the right direction, really subtle. But to pay attention and going, he's doing it. Oh, he's got that bit right, wrong. And then just helping him. One tiny little bit of support was all that was needed.
But I think that tiny bit of support comes from what we've been talking about, the ethos and the culture. So that was the music thing that Paul was talking about at the weekend. A few weeks ago, we had last term, we had International Day. The biggest round of applause the whole time was our Embracing Differences. So these are kids with significant needs, but they did a cowboy West Cotton Eye Joe dance. The whole school erupted. Like, it was everyone's cheering and clapping along. Like, this is what inclusion is. It's not just we're going to meet your needs, because everyone has individual needs, but it's the belonging that's so important, that everybody knows that we're all part of this community together. And if this kid needs a little nudge around the shoulder so they can clap their fingers at the same time, that's what we're going to give them. That's the important stuff.
But you didn't even stick a support person with them to give them that nudge. You knew that another child would support them if needed. You have that faith and trust in your community that they will support each other. And you talked about the going back to, as they're running around the school, you talk about lots of little bits which you wouldn't necessarily list down. It's more of a...
But this was a choir that's representing our school. Out in Bangkok with all these parents who don't know our school. But the privilege of having those children represent us is fantastic. And their parents were there also, all walks of life, incredibly proud. And why shouldn't they be that their child's performing in a huge shopping mall in Bangkok? And that's the essence of everybody being included.
And it's one of those things. I'm going to say it's a feeling rather than a graph. It's not something you can stick on a graph, an inclusivity graph, but it is a feeling. It's, as you said, Catherine, you read the website and you go, yes. It's walking into the school, you're going, yes. It's families arriving at the school, maybe with one child while other children at other school. And do you have that situation where maybe the third child isn't allowed to go to the other school, comes to you, then the other children transfer?
Not anymore. But
It's far rarer now, without a doubt. There was a period when children did get dropped off, and I didn't mind. We'd accept all of those children, and then gradually, as I said earlier, programs, especially in the high school, were put on to meet all needs, and parents don't really now. They want all their children to be in the same family, and often families who have a child with challenges are even more appreciative of the fact that the school is inclusive and want their other children to come, because they want to see how their brother or sister is doing and help them do it and share that with the other members of their community.
And then the mission statement is all the needs of the individual learner. That's not just kids with additional learning needs. Every kid is an individual learner. And so it goes all the way for every student. That's what it's about.
I think one of the words that, one of the most important words in our mission statement is that we want our children to be happy. And, not many schools will be brave enough, perhaps, to put that on. They use sort of, big academic terms and, progress and excellence and things like that. We want our children to be happy, to be included and to be safe. And, once you get that absolutely the bare bones knuckled down, everything else comes from that, and that's definitely what you feel in our school.
I think 15 years ago, anybody who talked about happiness as education was deemed to be a bit of a freak, But so to me, to have a wishing statement that said, well, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be happy at work. So I thought, that's the first thing that's going in. We'll be happy at work, because if I'm happy at work, I'm sure I'll be better. And if the kids are happy as well, I'm sure we'll do work far harder. And sometimes parents used to say, they're a bit too happy they want to come to school. You can't be working them hard enough.
There is a thing. As you think about the values on school websites, confidence, successful, all that lot, it's not the word happy. And interestingly, I find it interesting in the Scottish curriculum, within one of the areas of reading is called enjoyment and choice. And I'm literally going, we got rid of that enjoyment and choice in England years ago. No, it's just work. I love the fact that happy is there in your mission statement. I'm actually going to really, almost like, that's going to be something I'm going to look out for now. I'm going to see how often I see that. Does it ever jump out at me again? And the answer is probably not for a very long time.
But again, schools are changing. They're trying to they've realised inclusion's a buzzword. So now everybody's talking about inclusion. Happiness is another one, resilience, all of these things have become buzzwords. So just a little bit cynical on terms of what actually they mean when you put it into practice within a community. And I think that's one of the issues that schools face. And we're in a very lucky position that we have a community that embraces the things that we value, embraces the happiness, because if you are happy, you're going to work far harder, you're going to go far further, you're going to enjoy far more, you're going to be just so much better if you have that wonderful feeling inside you and you want to come to work and you want to do things. And I think now parents are starting, having gone through all the COVID and the anxieties and all of those, I see that more and more. And I think we need to focus more on happiness and less on mental health.
I think it'd be interesting that you kind of promote happiness. And it's not something I can stick on my website tomorrow morning and everyone goes, oh, they're trying to be happy. It's kind of, to use an old-fashioned phrase, the proof is in the pudding. Is you can't just stick it on the website and go, oh, are you happier now? It's on the website. And the kid's going, no, it's still a horrible school. It's actually got to come from that leadership and all the way through of actually, how do we make this place so that everyone, including all our staff, can be happy? And that's not something you'll do. Okay, we've got a plan. We've got a 5-step plan on how to make the whole school happy. We'll get that done in 3 weeks? It's going to take years. It's going to take years to really get that through and through. And there are going to be people who will have to change maybe the way they approach things. And that will have to be done through other people doing it first and them seeing the benefits. So, I'd love schools to make everyone happy, but that's a good couple of years of really working hard, and we can get there. But something tells me some of them will kind of lose interest on the way when a new buzzword will come in.
Yeah. I think using positive language is the success. And I think young people, like we all do, if you're using positive language with them, It's amazing how they will pick up on the positivity and move forward with it. It's too easy to be negative, and it's in some respects, especially from that British background, we do love a label, and you can be too negative. A positive attitude and a positive way of looking at things means that you always will be looking for those moments that make you smile, that moment that makes you laugh, because that's what actually it causes enjoyment and happiness in life. And it's how to find those. And we want teachers that do that. So teachers have to understand how to approach young people and each other to try and have good teams and a good environment and a nice atmosphere among colleagues. Because that's it. And that's something now we're bigger is so hard to tell them all what to do, you know. But again, one models as much as you can what you can do, and you hope that positivity remains. And I think that's what keeps the school as successful as it is.
Definitely. I'm going to wrap it up there. I could keep asking you lots of questions about your school and then try and work out how I can get to come and visit, but that's yeah. Thank you for coming and help and just having the words happy in your school values and your mission statement and your ethos. I wonder how many schools listening to that are going to go, yeah, that wouldn't fit in ours. And how many would go, actually, we could. And that'd be interesting, is just that reflection on that. Is that a word you could drop in your ethos, drop in your values that you really believe in as a school, or is it not?
I think an awful lot of people say it is. It's all part and parcel of their schools.
I think for some it is, but it's when is it happy for everyone? That's the happy for everyone. That's the challenge. I've put some links to St Andrews in our show notes, and you'll find links to find out about St Andrews and also Nasen and their work in the show notes, on which you'll find wherever you listen to the podcast or on our website. If you want to get in touch, let us know your thoughts, suggest topics or anything else, please message us on social media or send an email to hello@thesencast.com. The Nasen Awards, organised by Nasen, celebrate outstanding contributions to the education support of children and young people with SEND. These annual awards recognise individual schools and organisations that demonstrate exceptional commitment to inclusive education and the advancement of SEND practices. Nasen is a charitable organisation that supports children and young people with SEND, and Nasen's goals include influencing government policy, providing information, training and resources to support practitioners, and contributing to the debate and effective change to improve outcomes for children and young people. And you'll find links in the show notes to find out more about the work Nasen does, their CPD and their events. So thank you for listening. We'll be back next time with another episode of the Sencast. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me.
Bye, everyone.